Hey, what's up? It's Emilio DiSpirito, and this is the Wealth Architect Podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you each and every single week. My team and I have hand-selected our guests to come on the program to talk about how to build wealth financially, mentally, physically, spiritually, right? There's so much that goes into building a lifestyle full of wealth, and we hope that this content really reaches you, not only in your brain, but in your heart, and that you could do something with this. So thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you, and we're going to have a great show. Hey, a special thank you to our sponsor, Annie Mac Home Mortgage, whose Cash to Keys product is disrupting the industry. Sick and tired of finding the perfect home, not having your offer selected? I got to tell you, it happens all the time. With Cash to Keys, Annie Mac gives sellers a cash guarantee for each of their buyers' offers. Stop bidding and hoping. Instead, bid with Annie Mac and bid with confidence. Don't just bid, but win. Annie Mac Mortgage. If you're listening to this podcast, you either own or will own a home, a car, and need life insurance. That's why you should check out our friends over at Lapointe Insurance, LapointeINS.com. These guys are the best in the business. They can help you if you're in Rhode Island or Massachusetts. And let me tell you something, his dedicated team of professionals are there to assist you and meet you where you're at. You never feel like you're being sold. You felt like you're being helped. It's a family tradition over at Lapointe. Check them out, Lapointe Insurance. We're here at the Wealth Architect Podcast. I'm Emilio DiSpirito IV, and we're here with Emilio DiSpirito III today. And this is season number 2, episode number 16. We've got a big show for you today. We are going to learn a little bit more about my dad, about my family history, which is pretty cool, and more or less about the mindset of building wealth, okay? Because building wealth isn't only financially, it's mentally, spiritually, physically, and also like other dynamics too, right? Family goes in there, friends go in there, and there's just so much to it. So I think this is going to be an interesting episode. My dad started a new podcast. We're going to talk about that, and we're also going to dig down and learn, again, a little bit more about family origins and just some of the things that have inspired me through my life. And I can't wait to talk with my dad here today with you. So hope you enjoy. Awesome. Dad, welcome to the program, my man.
Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you. So recently started a podcast. We'll get into that a little bit later, okay? But first, I want our audience to know a little bit about you, right?
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. You've always been an inspiration for me growing up. One of the hardest working guys I've ever met, right? You're welcome. So tell us a little bit about yourself growing up, your family life, all that other jazz.
Well, I was the oldest of 11 children. It was great when I was young. My grandfather, Emilio Sr., he opened up DiSpirito's store, which my grandmother ran, and he worked in a mill. He came over in 1894 from Italy. Mm-hmm. He built quite a bit of wealth. As a matter of fact, when he died, he had $3.5 million in the bank.
What year was that?
That was 1962. Unfortunately, he was in business with his brother, and they had a survivorship clause. So all the money went to his brother. Fortunately, DiSpirito's store was under my grandmother's name. He couldn't touch that. You talk about work ethic. My grandmother ran the store with all 3 kids, taking care of all 3 kids. She was a very hard worker. I still think about her, and a great big smile runs across my face. When I was 13, I wound up working at the store, and my Aunt Angie, who was the president, was my supervisor, and she gave me my work ethic. So my dad was known as the singing butcher. He worked behind the counter. Of course, he was always singing because he didn't have to deal with the 11 brats that were at home.
I'm sure that you were on the back of his mind, though.
Yeah. Then when I was 15, my mother died due to a slip of the knife, and we were left alone for 5 years with just my father.
Slip of the knife on the operating table, right?
Yeah, what happened was the doctor was called out of the room. Now, I was 15. I found this out by accident when I was 22 because my father did not want to sue, so he hid it from me. The doctor actually left the room to take a bet, left the intern to finish up, and what happened was the intern cut her pancreas.
Insane.
Yeah, she suffered for 3-4 days, and then she died. Needless to say, the next 5 years were insane at the house. You see these movies about a bunch of kids going wild. That was our family. Jumping off, my brother John jumping off the roof of the house into the pool.
With an umbrella, saying he was Mary Poppins.
Yeah. My brother Jim starting a fire in the garage. Just different, insane things. And my father would get calls at the store. Luckily, it was family-owned business, so he could leave. He'd rush down. But it was interesting. I should probably write a book about it someday.
Yeah, I mean, what you guys went through growing up basically without a mom, right? 11 kids. So you were the oldest, you were 15. Yeah. The youngest was Uncle Jim. Yeah. And how old was Uncle Jim?
Uncle Jim was a year.
Wow, just a baby. So Uncle Jim doesn't remember your mom.
Your Uncle Jim doesn't, your Aunt Fran doesn't, and your Aunt Tina doesn't. Uncle Peter remembers a little bit.
How old was Uncle Pete?
Uncle Pete at the time, I think he was 5. He's 10 years younger.
Wow, and he remembers her.
Yeah, he remembers her driving the tractor around the yard. We grew up with horses, thoroughbreds, Palomino, Morgans. So like I said, I was one of the fortunate ones. I knew all my grandparents. I knew the good times. I also seen the bad times.
What do you mean by the bad with your mom?
Yeah.
And then the kids kind of being left like to anarchy.
Yeah. And that happened until 5 years later when my dad married M.A. Sally. So she brought some structure back into
and 6 kids with her. So now then there was 17.
Yes, that's correct.
Did all 17 children live under one house?
No, only the 2 youngest, Mark and Ray.
Okay, all right. So there were then 13 at the time, or 13. Imagine that, 13 children living in one house.
Yeah, your mother had culture shock the first time I brought her in for dinner because she was one of 2 children that were raised in Bellingham. And you've got the kitchen table, you've got a porch with another table, and you've got what was in the playroom with another table. It was good. We were all happy.
I think the number is, and I want to talk a little bit more about that, but when people ask like, oh, do you have a big family? I'm like, big family? Like, we have a huge family, right? Which really, I think, shapes us as people growing up with that. But I want to say that the number of first, second, and now third cousins from that lineage is probably in the 70s, like 70, maybe more than 70. So I have 70 like cousins. Like, and these are people that we see somewhat, right? Not all of them, but
most of them are in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Uncle Jim moved down to Greensboro,
North Carolina.
Your Aunt Hilda and your Aunt Christine moved down to Texas.
Yep. Growing up, right? So growing up, I remember I have memories, like I can see it, right? So vivid memories of growing up during those Sunday dinners, which, by the way, we still do Sunday dinners, which I love.
That's right.
So not with the whole extended family, but with the immediate family and some extended. But growing up, I remember maybe being 5 years old, just walking through Grandpa's kitchen. Okay, I remember the pasta, I remember the sauce, how it would taste, the gravy, as you would call it. And I remember how unbelievably loud this place was. I mean, just screaming, like just like and passionate, like raw conversations, everything from family dynamics to politics to this to that. But I also remember being a little boy in a sea of what felt like legs. Like all I could see is legs everywhere. Like almost being like, oh man. And I feel like that chaotic but loving, crazy environment has really truly shaped me today to deal with chaotic, insane, ton of information at once coming at me and being able to kind of just cut through and just kind of mind my own business and get by. So
Yep.
it's just wild, man.
Yeah.
Wild. So you were all right. So growing up, right? So growing up, you had all of that, and then you met Mom. What year was that? 83?
83. We got married. I met your mother actually in 1979 at Zaire.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was part-time ringing registers, and I was in the photo department.
So Zara was a retail store later on bought by Ames,
Yeah,
which
department store.
was later on closed down due to Walmart coming in.
Yeah.
But all right, so you were in the photo department?
Yes.
Wow. All right. So you're in the photo department and Mom was in the ringing registers.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And so you met Mom and like what was that like? You met Mom. Did you fall in love with her right away, or were you like, I'm gonna take that chick out? Like what like what was going through your head?
It was 4 years later that we started dating.
Did you take like 4 years to ask her out, or what was going on? She was married before.
She was married before.
Hopefully you didn't ask her out when she was married. That'd be messed up.
She was divorced.
Okay.
And we started dating.
Good. That's the story I heard. I'm just double checking.
Then I was promoted to what they call the key carrier, and I was transferred out to Enfield, Connecticut, where Springfield, we settled where you grew up.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in the Agawam store, the Chicopee store, the Enfield store, the Bloomfield store, and your mother was the anchor, because I would be working anywhere from 10 to 13 hours a day, sometimes 6-7 days a week. Retail back then was awful.
Still is. It's horrible.
Later on, after Zaire closed, I was a store manager down in Worcester, and we were still in Springfield. And then I joined Caldor, and the same thing. I worked in Chicopee. I worked in Manchester.
Dead end retail.
Yeah. But the thing about Caldor was they hired you with what they called the golden cuffs, handcuffs. For instance, back then it was 91. I was making $83,000 a year.
In 91?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah, it is. But when you break it down by hours, it wasn't. And unfortunately, at that time, store managers at Caldor were making, let's say, $110,000. If you decided to leave and go to, let's say, Walmart, who was coming up, store managers made about $55,000 a year.
At Walmart?
Yeah.
Wow.
Back then. So you couldn't afford to leave.
No.
So they had you.
Wow. So we could talk about that in a little while too, because seeing you go through that and being stuck and kind of handcuffed to that it wasn't a 9 to 5. It was like a 5 a.m. to a 9 p.m. Like insane.
I can remember going in 5 o'clock in the morning, working till 3, going home, and then coming back at 10 o'clock at night to work overnight because one of the VPs was coming to the store.
Awful. Absolutely awful.
And probably 7 times out of 10 they wouldn't show for a prepared visit. So.
Just a fake visit just to get you guys on your toes, just to get the stores looking up to snuff.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about so when you met Mom, right? Go back to that. She had 2 children.
Yeah. Jamie and Robbie.
My brothers. Okay, so Jamie and Robbie, great guys, awesome guys. And you took Mom in, and this was before me. You took Mom in, and then you had her 2 children, which call you dad, which you took.
I raised them.
You raised them.
They're my sons.
They are. They absolutely are. They're my brothers. What was that like? Kind of like going into like a mixed family. I feel like there's a lot of that right now. Like a lot.
I got to tell you something. It was very, very tight. When your mother and I first got married, I was making $245 a week.
$245 a week, and you're supporting a family of 4.
Yes. For a long time, I've always felt guilty about the way you boys were raised because money was extremely tight. Your mom would have to go out on Thursdays, cash in all the soda cans so we could have milk.
Yeah. I remember collecting those with her. Like,
If we move forward to today, as you know, your oldest brother is adopted. And about 4 weeks ago, we were at your brother Robbie's house. And the conversation came up. Jamie found one of his brothers. He was talking about it. And you and Robbie looked at one another.
Like, what? Lost, bewildered.
Wait a minute. You're our brother.
Yes.
We're not sharing you. And for years, your mother was telling me the way you guys grew up was good because it taught you your work ethic. It taught you how to be responsible. And we had a family unity.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, I turned to her and said, you know what, Pauline, you were right. We did do a great job.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
You did, absolutely. So I want to interject there for a second, Dad, because a big part of who I am today, who Rob is, who Jamie is, who Jade is becoming, our sister, we'll talk about her later.
Yeah.
A big part of who your children are today is because of how hard we saw you and Mom work, because of the love that we had in the household, because of how wealth isn't only about finance. Wealth is about the family unit, and it's about legacy, and it's about relationships, and it's about giving more than you expect to get. And that is infused into every single one of your children's lives today. Okay, which is huge. So that is more powerful and more important than any dollar bill. Dollar's trash. Dollar's fake. Money is fake. Money is fiat, right? Like really. Yeah. But the thing that stays is, number one, of course, God, which you also taught us about, right? We grew up Catholic.
Yes.
Okay, but we actually were practicing Catholics. We were at school, in church, and every single week. And I saw you guys struggle through these times. And it's not because you were lazy, or it's not because you were on public assistance, which I love, by the way, too. Thank you for never doing that, right? You taught us how to earn an honest dollar. You taught us how to put everybody first. And you also taught me as a kid how every man is good and equal in God's eyes. And I remember you would sing me this song. You remember that song, What Color is God's Skin? Yeah. And so it's, what color is God's skin? Is it black, brown, yellow? Is it red, or is it white? Every man's the same in the good Lord's eyes, right? And I remember growing up during that time, and I remember how actually, and I'm going to bring this up for a second, there was very little racism. And we were growing up in a mixed city, Springfield. Yep. Look it up. Springfield is one of the mixed cities and most mixed cities. And there was very little racism. Okay, everyone was treated equally, and this is how we saw. And that was then later on brought in by whatever else. We're not going to go down that road, but I want you to know the truth. And anybody who grew up in the 90s, especially I would say the Springfield area, and maybe other areas are different. Of course, we all have different unique circumstances, but we were all working together. And you taught me that as a kid. And I know other parents around us were teaching their kids like that. And it's on us to teach each other that, hey, we judge people by how they show up, by how hard they work, who they are in their heart, nothing else, right? So I want to bring that up. And I got all of that from you. And also, I remember that we never had name brand things. I had a lot of hand-me-down things, right? As did you growing up.
Yeah.
But you set the foundation, and without all of that love, support, and time, Dad, that foundation that parents like you and Mom have built, we wouldn't have this generation that cries about everything wouldn't have anything without the generations before. Okay, so you guys set the stage. Now we're here on our computers and on our phones making millions of dollars online doing crazy things, okay? Because of who set it up for us, right? And I kind of want to talk about how culture has changed and whatnot in a bit, but I really wanted to lay that point that the wealth is far deeper than financial.
Yeah.
And it's about community.
Yeah, community and family. Family is the most important thing. And that's why you're seeing a lot of problems now with kids growing up without fathers. That's why your mother for years did fostering.
That's right. We did fostering too,
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah. I never thought I'd have a daughter, and I've got one now. Her name is Jade, your sister. And I love her dearly.
We all do.
You get more out of it from the kids than what you can give. I mean, some of the stories you hear, kids living in 21 houses before they go to a secure family.
Permanent home, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just awful. I think anyone who has a thought about it should try it. Just try it. If you're not meant for it, you're not meant for it. But you will change people's lives.
Yeah, you absolutely can. Definitely.
But at the point where Jade,
my sister,
came in, I was in a different situation then. Because your grandfather, right before he died, went to your Uncle Jim, who was a layout engineer. Basically a layout engineer. The circuit designers bring a schematic to you, and you lay out the components, buffers, inverters, just different electronic components. And it's like building a city. You connect the devices by different metals. Anyway, your grandfather said to him, because he could see retail was wearing on me, can't you teach him how to do what you do? And your Uncle Jim did that. 2004, I got my first job up in Vermont as a layout engineer. 2.5 years, I would go up there and I would drive home. Then we moved to Rhode Island, so I would drive home every weekend unless I had to work. And then I joined a company, RFI in Bell Ricker. And then I joined ADI until I retired this last February. And the pay was very good. We had bonuses, and I was able to afford more. So Jade kind of never saw.
No, she didn't see the struggle.
I mean, joking with her the other night at your Uncle John's for the DiSpirito Christmas party, I said, I remember when she was a klutz, and she dropped a brand new Kindle book, smashed it all over the place. She came in crying, So what did I do? The next day I went out and bought her a new one. I mean, we couldn't have done that when
No
you were
way.
kids.
I remember our first computer was an Apple IIe, right? Like we
Yeah.
got it like used. It was probably already obsolete. We got the big floppy disk, the big, green screen, all that other jazz, and playing Oregon Trail and Frogger and all those other games, which we thought were amazing back then. But yeah, man, I remember all that. And then I remember, like I was saying before, I didn't finish my thought. We never had like name brand stuff. So that, keep in mind, so when I was a kid in school, you and mom put me, Jamie, Robbie, through Catholic school, which was far better than public schools and still is, by the way, everything about it, right? Smaller class size, better curriculum, just more love. You learn about Jesus, far better than public schools, okay? But you guys put us through that, and all the other kids had name brand shoes and all of this. And I remember getting made fun of so bad. That is not something you should feel guilty about. That is actually a gift, okay? Because when children go through that as children, they get to learn how to cope. They get to learn how to deal with adversity. Holy moly, that is unbelievably amazing. And it also gave your children drive. If kids have everything handed to them, or anybody for that matter, entitlement comes along with it, no drive comes along with it, no creativity, no self-awareness, all those amazing things, right, that can blossom from adversity. So I welcome that type of adversity, and now I thrive off of it, okay? So that's because, again, of the foundation and because of all those things. So you know what? Like, God works in mysterious ways. And when we think things are bad, they're not necessarily bad. They're getting us shaped for the future. They're getting us shaped to lead and to also understand not everyone's having a good time. And it makes us look out for the underdogs, right? So there's so much good that has come with that. And I remember being 9 years old, knocking on doors, shoveling driveways.
That's right.
Weeding people's garden beds, all that other stuff. And I want to just say this real quick. When I started in real estate, I was broke as a joke, okay? Far in debt, okay? 6 months for my first paycheck, okay? Getting evicted out of my apartment. No one sees this now. They see my building in Main Street. They see the team I built. They see all the wonderful people around us, the brokerages that Joe and I built together, okay? That's what they see. They don't see the struggle. They don't see, like I said, the eviction notice, the repo man coming, trying to find my car, which I was hiding from him, by the way. Okay, all of that. They don't see the shoveling of snow that I had to do just to get into a new apartment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so all of those things as a kid, shoveling driveways and all that, I actually did again when I was 26, 27 years old, which is awesome. And it helped me out because I was able to look back on humble beginnings and realize this is okay. This is temporary. We're going to get through this.
Yeah.
So anybody in that spot in life needs to understand that's character building. That is good. When you go through that and you still keep continuing, you drive through that, you're going to get far.
Yep. Not trophies for everybody.
I'd like to take a minute and thank Ted Topouzis, my friend over at Topouzis and Associates, for sponsoring this program, making this message possible for you to hear. And if you're fortunate enough to live in Florida, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, or Connecticut, you're going to want to leverage the power behind Ted Topouzis and his team for your real estate transactions. You need a legal team that understands real estate inside and out, and this is what they do, specifically real estate. So go ahead and contact our friends at TAClosinglaw.com and let them know where you heard it, right here on The Wealth Architect, Topouzis and Associates. So, by the way, so while he was also working, 90 hours a week, he still managed to not only be a member of the Lions Club, which is a fantastic organization internationally, shout out to them, but also coached my soccer teams and also was there for my brothers and my mom. So you coached my soccer teams for how many years? How many seasons? 10 seasons, maybe 11 seasons?
No, I think it was more like 6 or 7.
Yeah?
Yeah, you guys made it to the city finals one year.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. But yeah, I like that no trophies for everybody, because if you're second place, you're the first place loser.
Well, it's like politics. I mean, you take someone who is not in a up for grabs stake. Let's say it's heavy Republican
Yep.
or it's heavy Democrat like California, and you start challenging them on topics and they start spinning because they don't know how to respond to challenges. They've never been challenged.
No, people don't. Yeah. That's one thing that I cut out very quickly, right? And that I've learned over the years, is that you can't, number one, you can't be around mediocrity. You can't allow that to sink in. You just can't. And number two, people need to want to change, and they need to want to do good themselves. And you can help people and guide them along and lead them along. But if they don't want to do it after a period of time, that they're just not going to change. They're hurting everyone else around you. So you got to cut the ties. And that's hard. That's not easy to do, because people are people. If anybody has failed, you and I have both failed in life, right? At many things. I do every day. I fall short every single day. So that's super hard to deal with. But I don't want to get off topic. I want to talk about, you just started a podcast, Chickies Take on Politics. We're not going to talk politics here, right? Because it's not the platform for that. I'm all about free speech. I have my views. You have yours. All good, right? But tell me a little bit about why you started this podcast. First off, what is Chickie? Tell me about the name. And then tell us a little bit about why you started this podcast and what you plan to accomplish with it.
Well, Chickie was a nickname I got when I was an infant, because my grandparents used to stand me on their lap and go chick, a chick, a chick, chick. And the name stuck. Unfortunately, for most of my youth, and I grew up hating the name. As a matter of fact, when I posted my podcast, my cousin Jane sent me a message. I thought you hated the name Chickie. The reason I used that name was the day I got married, my grandmother had a stroke. Unfortunately, we lost her like a week later. But she couldn't talk, and I walked into her hospital room. My Aunt Tony was there. And as I walked in my wedding tuxedo, she said, Chickie. And I knelt down on the side of her, and I said, Grandma, if I have a boy, I'm going to name him after Grandpa. And she had this great big smile on her face. That's why I decided to go with the name, because that was given to me out of love, that name. I tell all your nieces and nephews, and little Emilio too,
my son,
the best gift you can give your grandparents is, long after you're gone, somebody says your name and a great big smile comes across their face. So that was the reason for naming it Chickies Take on Politics. And basically what I do is I have guests come on. I've got to get a hold of one gentleman this week.
Mr. Greg Rice.
Yes. I also do 3 topics on my own if I don't have any guests lined up. The last one, not to get into politics, was about fentanyl. It was about the January 5th bomber and January 6th, 2021. And the third one was education, our education of our children, which is absolutely critical. And I go into that a little bit. We as parents, you've got to sit down with your kids. You've got to pick their brain for 20 minutes. What'd you learn in school today? Don't accept the nothing, you know. What did you do in math? Show me what you did in math. Show me what you did in science. If they have history, show me what you did in history. You kids come home from college, you sit their butt down because chances are you're helping pay their bill. Okay, what courses have you got? What have you learned in this, this, and this? There is nothing more aggravating than one show off the top of my head, Jesse Waters. Watching Johnny go out and interview these college students, and they can't name what country the Pilgrims came from. They can't name who our first president was, who the 16th president was, you know, why the North fought the South. We're not doing our kids any favors. And again, as parents, if you want your kids to succeed, which I think we all do.
We all do, yeah, of course.
You've got to invest the time. I don't care how tired you are. And your mother was great at that.
She was, yeah, absolutely. She still is. So it seems like you want to bring this stuff up, these topics up that are affecting all of us, right?
And I welcome anybody who has an opposing view.
Well, you're looking at it from, I think, two different sides, and that's one of the things I like, right? And some people have already said, like, Dad, you're too in, my brothers, right? I think Jamie said, Dad, you're too in the middle. Like, you got to be, but I think, and I don't think you're doing it to appease anyone as much as you're just trying to look at it from different angles,
right? Which
I appreciate. And I think that Jamie's message was just, you know, of course, be authentically you, of course, right? And I think you are. I think that's it. So it's interesting. It's called Chickie's Take on Politics. I watch them. I get to brush up on what's going out there, world events, all of that stuff. And I'd rather listen to 15, 20 minutes of a podcast like yours to kind of hear and see the different takes on it than, you know, say watch CNN or Fox or something. Because,
well, if you watch CNN, you've got to watch, let's say, an hour of CNN, then flip it to Fox or Newsmax and watch that for an hour. That way there, you're getting both sides of the story.
You could just shut it all off and go to ChatGPT.
Okay. They both have their point of view.
Sure.
There's things you'll see on Fox you won't see on CNN and vice versa. So you got to mix it up, especially in New England.
Yeah, or California or anywhere that's, So, all right. So let's talk about our namesake, okay? I want to talk about that.
Emilio.
Emilio, right? All right. So we come from Italy. Where in Italy?
Oh, it's tough to say.
Typical Italian Americans.
Campagna del...
Oh, you know the town name.
Yes. It's northwest of Naples and southeast of Rome.
Ludovica would know, our executive assistant. She would know. It sounds like somewhere she comes from a little town, tiny town. All right, so Emilio Sr., right, came over.
Now, there's an interesting story to that. Angelo, my grandfather's brother, accidentally shot his other brother. And Angelo, my great-grandfather, was already in America. So they left shortly after that, came to America. They came under their mother's name. It took me a while to find them through Ellis Island. But I eventually did, and they came over in, I want to say 96.
1896?
Yeah.
Wow.
He worked very hard. He, like I said, Grandma ran the store. He worked at the old Nyanza factory for years. You know, they made their fortune doing that. He invested in stocks. He had stocks in Ford, GM, you know. Fortunately, he
He's
put
a savvy
that
business
in my
guy.
grandmother's name, so
Yeah.
they got to keep that too.
Good. So he was a savvy business guy.
Yes,
Emilio,
yes.
right.
Yeah, your great-grandfather was so far ahead of time. DiSpirito store was just a small store, and what he did was he built a second floor on the store and expanded it, and marble stairways leading upstairs.
Very
The
fancy.
shower upstairs. Now this is in 1934. 1, 2, 3 nozzles.
Yeah.
Another nozzle over here. So,
Some people didn't even have plumbing in their homes
yes,
back then.
yes. And these are things you see in the modern homes now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
then he had Grandpa, which was Emilio Jr.,
Yeah.
who was originally named Luigi.
yes,
Okay, all right. So he wasn't Junior at first. He was Luigi.
right.
And what happened? Why did they change his name?
Well, before they built the second floor of the store,
Mm-hmm.
your great-grandfather lived next door from the store. His brother owned the house. They were on the first floor, and your grandfather, I believe, was on the second or third floor.
Mm-hmm.
And your father was a straight-A student. Your Aunt Angie, your Aunt Tony, your Aunt Clara, they were all straight
My great-grandfather? Your father.
A's. My father.
Yeah. It's a lot of
And-
Emilios.
What happened was my Uncle Angelo had, I believe, 4 boys, named them different things. Grandpa had Dad, named him Emilio. 6 months later, Uncle Angelo had another boy and named him Luigi.
Mm-hmm. Same as Grandpa's original name.
Yeah. So they go off to school. Your grandfather's getting straight A's. Uncle Louis, I love the guy.
Yeah, he was great.
He was great, but he would get subpar grades. The mailman would mix up the report cards, and your grandfather would get a spanking for not having good
beaten.
grades, which
Yeah.
he had. So finally, I think my father was 13 years old, and my grandfather went to his brother and said, "You had 3, 4 chances to name your boy after Dad. Change his name." Well, thank God he wouldn't,
Right? Yeah.
because
It'd be
then
Luigi.
my father, my grandfather, and my father went down to the courthouse, legally changed his name to Emilio Jr.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. So then you come along,
Yeah.
and we got to learn about you. It's great. And then you promised my great grandma, your grandma, who called you Chicky, that you
Yeah.
would have a son and name him,
Emilio IV.
which is me.
Yeah.
And then you always told me, you like put it in my head since I was a little boy, you're going to have a boy one day and you're going to name him Emilio V. So now I have an Emilio V.
Yes, you do.
And I've put in his head, since he was a little boy, right? This is just part of it. You're going to have a son, and his name is going to be Emilio VI. So if you ask my 7-year-old, what are you going to name your boy when you have a boy? He's going to say Emilio DiSpirito VI, right? Tradition is so important, and
Yeah.
legacy is absolute everything. What do you think your legacy is?
My legacy, I worked hard all my life. I've got 4 wonderful children. I've got a beautiful wife who, thank God, was tough enough to put up with me. My legacy is my kids.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be the ones to succeed, and you want your kids to do better than you, which
Amen.
I believe they all have.
Yeah.
So,
Because of what you taught us as parents, and because of the support and the love, and always being there, and that's absolutely everything. And so Dad, thank you so much for all that you've done my entire life, for coming to share the story, and for allowing me to pass the legacy of the DiSpirito name and of all that we stand for the type of people that we are, on to my son, your grandson, and onto his, and and generation after generation. Thank you so much.
Your mom deserves a lot of the credit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mom has her whole other story. I mean, we're pretty much out of time, but mom was an agoraphobic. Look that up. Agoraphobia is a serious condition where she feared to even leave the house.
She
But
got over that by herself.
She fought through it. She's one of the most social people, like you'll know. She's got a circle of friends.
Yeah.
You guys have the Super 8, all your friends, couples. And you know what? I got to give you credit. You and mom have been married for how many years?
Almost 43.
43 years. Do you know how unbelievably, when I look back at all the things in my life and how thankful I am that my parents were able to keep it together and stay together through the rockiest of times, man. But you guys have done it. And that is so unbelievably important. And we see divorce rates through the roof. I've been through a divorce. Probably many people watching this have, and it rips families apart, right? If you can avoid it and focus on, bringing what you need to bring to the table as a partner and put God in the middle of that marriage, I think that is so key. But that's a whole nother topic. But I just feel like hopefully somebody heard something in this podcast today. I'm sure that will inspire them and make them think. And Dad, thank you again so much. I love you very, very much. And
I love you
you're
too.
one of my heroes. And keep up the great work. And I'm so glad to see the podcast. Thank you so much.
That's on Spotify, by the way.
Yeah, Chickie's Take on Politics. It's Chickie with 2 E's.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good stuff. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Wealth Architect. Make sure you subscribe, comment, and share. Thank you so much. God bless you. We'll be back here on The Wealth Architect next week. I'm Emilio DiSpirito IV with Emilio DiSpirito III signing off. Thank you.